I'm very happy and honored to be invited to be here with you. This is not the first time you have invited me. We have met before. I was also interacting with the intellectuals from the Archdiocese of Mbarara. I think that's another association. It's not the Kitabi Seminary, but the one of, it used to be headed by somebody who was a banker. So I'm very happy to interact with you. I first saw Kitabi in 1956. I had got Akaskino, hiccups, and my father said my mother should take me to Ishaka. At that time we were living in Ntungamo, so we came by a bus through Kagamba. That time that road was not good. There was a very steep slope called Akatagu. When the vehicle would get there, it would really, it was very risky. You could think that you would fall off. But when we got to Kitabi, I was amazed by the size of the buildings. I had never seen such big buildings in my life. Now, the next time I came to interact with the Kitabi people was at Ntare. As the Archbishop Bachienga said, those who are rejected, many of them would end up in Ntare. So we would wonder, they would come and start, I think they would start in S3 or something like that. They would not start with us in S1. So somebody comes and says, you find you are sitting with him in S3, I think. And then you say, some would come even in A level. Some of them would come in S5. So we would say, but where are these people coming from? They say they are coming from the seminary. The seminary is also like, because at that time the schools were very few. The schools which were feeding a school like Ntare, you could count them on your hands. It was Mbarara High School, St. Nyamitanga, St. Joseph's. There was also St. George's Ivanda. Ivanda, like my friend Rahel came from Ivanda. It was like a junior secondary school. There was that level called junior secondary school, meaning P7, P8, and P9. Then you would have some from Chigez High School, very few. So we now added this group, this mysterious group, Kitabi. But are these a secondary school or what are they? So, they are people who are trying to be priests but didn't manage. And so we have a few. I think one of them is called Mwewesa, Francis, because he also parachuted from somewhere. And then you had people like, there was a boy called Kampororo. What happened to Kamporo? I have never seen what. Yes. There was Kamporo. There was Ruzindana. There was quite a number of them. One were covered by Francis. Ravita. But Ravita didn't come to Ntari. I think he went. I remember those who were in Ntari. But there were quite a number. That was my next, when I interacted with them. But as Archbishop Bajeng has said, the products of Ntari, of Kitabi, even those reject ones, they really end up being very good. Mwebesa Francis is one of them. Here he is. We've been together for a long time. It must have been around 1961. When I was in S1 myself, he was in S2. So you can see from that time, we've been working together. It's so good that the White Fathers set up that institution to train for the church, but also to train for the society. As intellectuals, you can help to wake up our society. I was coming from a place called Adilang in Acholi, where I was with the Archbishop Odama. The country, your country is very rich. Uganda is a very rich country. The problem, however, is the knowledge of the population, the whole population, to use these natural resources in order to modernize ourselves and make our country rich. There are 4 sectors of the economy. Sector 1 is agriculture. The problem with agriculture is that 69% of the homesteads are still in subsistence farming. And we have been struggling to wake them up, to say, please, subsistence farming means okorenda, okorro kulya kwonka. And this is a challenge to the priests, because the priests, many times they are deployed in the rural areas. There is, for instance, one parish which I did research in, and this is in an area where the Catholic Church is quite strong, Bunyaruguru. This is the parish of Ndangaro. Tindamanyira, I see him there. Ndangaro is a parish of, when I checked, it had 2,500 homesteads. All of them were not involved in commercial activities. They only had bananas for eating and for making alcohol. Once in a while, they would go to the park and steal hippos, because Banyarugu like hippos. And yet that area is very rich, as you know, very rich with volcanic soils, but these 2,500 homesteads were just there, dormant economically. there was only one man called Kateva who had seven pigs. When I asked the others, I said, oh, why don't you copy Kateva? Ntawenji mtakutoreza Kateva mukagiraho empunu nawe. Ngogo ngone shaka ali omugaiga. So, comrades, 69% of the homesteads in Uganda, the whole of Uganda, are stuck in subsistence farming. I stopped at Kagamba, at the junction there, and I saw a woman in a millet garden. I asked her, I said, Madam, what are you going to do with the millet? She said, that was her ambition. In the 20th century, when people are going to the moon and coming back, this woman is there busy, her big project of So here you the elite and the priests, you have, and the political leaders, you really have a serious challenge because the poverty is from there. These are people with resources, with land, which they are not using to improve themselves. In the process, Nibatuwejansa, Oktuwejansa, Nibawejansa, Ecclesia, because if all these homesteads were part of the commercial, when it comes to a betrayal, the Ecclesia, it will be simple. You will be getting from rich families. Nibawejansa, Ihanga, because the country would get more taxes out of them, directly and indirectly. Nibawejansa, Amakagabo, Nibawejansa, Engandazabo, the banks, I can see they are bankers. Nibawejansa banks because they don't bank money because they don't have money. 69% of the homesteads bariyoko bashtami begamire fuka itobana ntuhinga bo begamire mhini nibarorera kwonga. So this is a challenge because you are all from the rural areas, or you know somebody who lives in the rural area. And for the priests, those rural people are your responsibility. Kuna tongana n'abandangaro, kuna agarikireyo bagira ngo hati ngo amakama 20 ngo gagiro omukora sente. Ekira birimbeshe yeza ngo bakore ngani nyina ngo omukaruka cyane mukaga mwebara okugumana muhagira mumpagira kandi muhagira NRM omukaruka cyane mukaga abakonyuka nabashomere kana shomere bari abanyabushozi nabo nuko babire bari abako abanyabushozi bo bakabagira ente z'enyankore umwaka atundamo ente nk'eshatu kwereza omushoro no kugurira omukazi omwenda no kugurira abakamwana emyenda n'ugura umunyu gwente bigarikiraho atu kunga bonka tandikana bo kare gatandikana bo nkaga na mukago nkaga na mushanju nkaga na mukaga natandika kufanawo ninyana ngo barije from traditional to commercial, because that was the problem. They were traditional. Now ba subsistence abo mbyaro nkorio o kagamba or kuza ganuzisha zara, you can see the problem that she's traditional in a modern age where tradition can no longer cope with the demand. So when bariya nabo kuna kuzira ikibaro nareba ngo they will not manage nukoko bakorera ikibaro ngo agenti umukorera kwanje mwinokorga umukuri sente ze nyankore ente ze nyankore zine sente kongani cyane ngo rise nyingi nkente rukumi wene nkente rukumi you can make money. But if there are few, you cannot make money enough to cope with modern demands. So therefore, I advise them to shift from the Ankore to the Frisians. And eventually they changed. I did that experiment between 1989 and 1995. By 1995, I was confident that the people in the rural areas could change. That's when I started that campaign of poverty eradication. You remember, those who are old enough remember I was going around. Therefore, in the election of 1996, we analyzed and we put forward what we called a 4 acres plan. 1 acre of high-grade coffee, 1 acre of good fruits, 1 acre of food crop, 1 acre of pasture for zero grazing dairy cows, and then backyard activities. Backyard activities meaning poultry, piggery for those who are not Muslims, maybe fish farming, a little bit of apiary, so that you get money, although you are doing your activities in a small area. So there, what is required is to jump 3 hurdles. Hurdle number 1, go from traditional to commercial, from subsistence to commercial. But hurdle number 2, you must do so with a chibaro. Because if you do it without a chibaro, still you will not get out of poverty. That's why you would find people, for instance, who grow maize or tobacco. They cannot get out of poverty because maize and tobacco are enterprises which need to be done on a big scale. Nokorgombo ka afiri bokutwanya guritaka nyineka kwarukufa. That's another danger to the prosperity of these families. Hata muntu anabani hikisha tu aina bana mwenda akiza kufa yaba nazumuguri yanazumuge hene biti nkubimanya yaraze yona konga asiga yaturekera ikizuba ataburaza kufa itakari yanjye abana banje barbaga n'umbuinganiza ekikuma isahikisha tu okuzigabira abana mwenda. That means each one takes like I think a third of an acre or something like that. So the land disappears. This is very dangerous. Where will these families survive in future? We don't want to introduce legislation confusion, but through sensitization, people can learn what the Europeans learned long ago. The Europeans bakegakare okutwanyagura ni kibi. Nowasa kubagana utatwanyagwire. How do you do it? Emigabo, shares. Let these family units remain together, managed together, operated together. You sell, you deduct costs. What remains, you divide according to the shares the parents gave you. In other words, divide what comes from the land, not the land itself. So this is sector one. This is sector agriculture. I'm talking only about the 69%. Tikunda gambara baria ashatuno 1% homesteads. Abakwa oboro bamiki ekibakukora. Abantu ba MUSEVENI now. Nicyo ntakubagambira ho munonga. Bono bana bamanya okwara atwaze ebyabo. Kandi mujishwa Bible ekagira obareba Yesu nariya n'abantu baburijo abafarisayo ab'emyohururu ngo Yesu nariya n'abasisi. Yesu yabajya tumanye utinda zirire bashyikirire ati nkayizira abamba abasisi nkayizira abarwire mbe natabakwenda umushaho nibariya nkaga na mwenda aharigana aboko nubatakwerebera abanyamukuru bagira fumu ngo mushogo mfu no mwekorere kuko yokorera umurambwe ko rugomkina nabo n'ubwomo mbena hati imwe bashomere nimwe mwekorere abantu bari nkajara haro hahene imwe haro umurukana bwetara haro abara haro bakagwejigera kare abako bakona gumeninga amarinda y'abantu ingiri yanjye batakujyakira nabuza abakuru ba district nabuza umugenzi kikuri nabuza ba makaru tumononere umuruka gugojegere umurubushenyegi ntinka nkatura munka nkagizo kubasimura ngo umuruka guriya harubajwa
no yeto ikatanga business processing outsourcing BPO kandi bakorana group ejembe mbere y'endambisho kandi bakora kimnoka. So it's ongoing, Your Excellency.
So then ikirabiremu because you see these BPOs, business processes outsourcing. Kuriya America na Canada bayino mikeno y'emiringo nkeshatu. Abajungu abo kuriya je no kubayita bakora kokufu baturaho bebekayikuru kandi bazara kubi abako bakanga kuzara nuko bateganisa mbano shanga ekikuru n'ekigurusi kiri umuntu cyonga kine insurance ni rwaro konka mwenu kwaro kwatwe ndwara ayina kutera esumu atumara kukimuje mu nyambi abo kukwata esumu kuriya nibashashuza sente nyingi urukwata esumu nagira ati atonshashure $50 burusabiti hati tuwe tuwamuhereza 10 kunuya burusabiti naguhonenda mbwena hati Elia company y'irwaro ekoragana nabo bamashu kandi bagamba urunko rwabariya nko rwa Obama hati ekoragana nabo igira ati kutarateresimu omuntu yarwara yateresimu umanye ko kuza America ije Kampala owa Kampala gikwate agambira irwaro atekigurusi nanka cyenda kukaba abirwaro behute baze. So that's the outsourcing. Obuyambo babushaka babu hakunui. So ekyo nekyamarwaro amashanyarazi kugararyo ebinde byenanga ebya municipal nkebi bya fire nkebi nkani nyambu fire nibagikora direct. Fire is too sensitive. Bete bindi so aba bantu bakora imirimo y'icyo hariho imirimo yo kubara ibitabo company nebene bitabo bikwenda kubarwa ba accountant ba auditors abakuriya na ba accountants very expensive baje bashaka bakuruye. So ati mwene masho uko kugeza kwanye gukora kwakoze rabo ngi mutakongera mwisho mukakanyisa mukatamu n'abandi
Excellency katanga ya abantu 30 konka ahabwa hati n'abantu 58 kandi group yene yongera na za companies ziyonze itememo abantu bejera kungendo.
So there you are. Ati wahora sectors kuzabina kare babarira kushita. Twagira agriculture, twagira industry, twagira services, twagira ICT. Mbwenaho wabona umugenzuro wabona wo shenkazi nabo inama manzi ga kitabi nyino ko baturo mugugwanje nto mugogo mugungwatse buri muntu okwara abasi arondo kuyabangiraho kora zo mu cyaro cyanyu ugira utimwe ukugwejiye no muherere mbene kabandangara bari yaherera hiti umayiba ikatinka bashwire gaude yagenda abandangara tingume yiba ikati so twena twabimukiramu abantu basimuka abantu bayigana n'abakozi konka bakabura umuntu urukubahabura kandi urukubahika ndikendo kubahika ikindi cyabe kimanyisa hati mwabana musima uruguto rwakagambisha ka uru nakantu kacyako kandi namwe tuzakora ruriya urukuza katunguru rusisikere munonga baza kutanka kuruboneza no rero obuna n'abambara archdiocese ngabatura umukino wanjye gwo kugira abakozi babesuku kandi umukino unkana guturira abasista banyamitanga na cyabiruko haba home system we sister magoba yija ya nyambo mu electoral commission n'abandi obunagamba n'abakidayisisi bakampa umuntu bakampa abantu abanatira mu URA nambono ma akabara commission bakana moto yizina ari ni nkumanya mbwe hato mu kintu nkigwine hato mwa utwakwatana kandi kumwa kungira ngo omukino ogwo kandi tugwanje n'ogwanyu aboke sente zo bakwiba tuzajinyega nezitwena nabo ekyo omukino ogwo mu nyambe omba lyaha narebamo omuntu ogweta gumoshabe nkandika nawo katondozi na Dr. Muranga bakanyamba munonga aho nkanyina kwandika katondozi konka bakashoma ebyendimi mbona banyama ko kushitamaho washitama konka ebigambo tubikwijaho naho abanyankore bagira ifumu ngo bukorwa tubwita bukombera obukorwa n'obunyamusho buke munonga konka bukukombera nubwita inyamusho mpango okukira munonga enchwera injoka y'enchwera mpango ushanga obukorwa bwagikombera bwagita mbere ekigambo kya circles. That's how capitalism was built in Europe. Small savings aggregated results into big money. So therefore you, members of the Association of Kitabi Old Boys and associated persons, because they are they are old girls from the I think there's some vocation or something. So it is old boys and old girls and associated persons. Okukora ekibiina kyo kubika n'okweguza n'ikintu ky'amagezi, which I totally support. Mbwenu kuna abaninjija na ntarikiriya what was required kunkana ijana miliyoni 20 tukamva kuzitwara konka miliyoni 20 chairman yabanze mwine capital kwingana kimwe mwasazinga makumyana zonka ate zanjye zaenda kwingana nezanyu kandi naza kongera izindi 20 zibe 40 zanjye kandi hariho okushonda sente za sanitation ezimwagamba 258 miliyoni mbwena naona za kutoa miliyoni 40 mwebare kunyeta na inja kwete executive yanyu mujana muntayira murebe intura dero ntuganirake mwebare munonga tanga bahereza mikisha
Vamos